In a move that no one saw coming, Anna Kendrick has quietly stepped into one of Hollywood's most explosive legal battles, and her subtle yet striking message has fans talking, media scrambling, and insiders whispering. With just a few carefully chosen words on social media, the pitch-perfect star appeared to break her silence and take a side, and it wasn't Blake Lively's. As Justin Baldoni's high-stakes legal fight against Blake Lively continues to escalate, bringing allegations of defamation, silencing, and subpoenaing content creators into the spotlight, Kendrick's voice has emerged as one of the few from within the Hollywood elite to subtly challenge the dominant narrative. She didn't name names, she didn't throw punches, but her message was clear: do your research. Sometimes silence is the loudest red flag. Those 10 words sent shockwaves across the internet. In an industry where most celebrities remain publicly neutral, afraid of jeopardizing relationships, deals, or careers, Anna Kendrick's post struck a different chord. She wasn't grandstanding, she wasn't chasing drama, she was cautioning fans to look deeper, to question what's being hidden beneath glamorous headlines and glossy statements, and fans listened, the response explosive. Now questions are swirling: what does Anna know? Why now? And could her quiet support tip the scales in a case that's already rattled Hollywood? This isn't just a story about 3 famous names, it's a story about loyalty, silence, truth, and power. And Anna Kendrick, with her signature grace and quiet strength, may have just become the unexpected voice of conscience in the storm. Let's break it all down: what she said, what it means, and why it's sending tremors through Tinseltown. In the swirling vortex of Hollywood drama, where alliances shift and narratives dominate headlines, one voice has emerged that few expected: Anna Kendrick. Known for her poised demeanor and sharp wit, Kendrick has historically kept her distance from the kinds of headline-dominating disputes currently engulfing some of her industry peers. But that all changed when the legal feud between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively reached a boiling point. At the heart of this tension is a high-profile defamation and interference case filed by Baldoni against Lively, a legal battle that has captivated the entertainment world. While many celebrities have remained silent, either due to personal relationships or fear of professional fallout, Kendrick made the bold choice to publicly and subtly signal her support for Baldoni. Her tone wasn't incendiary, nor did she target Lively directly. Instead, she posted a carefully worded message on Instagram: sometimes silence is the loudest red flag. Do your research, look deeper. The post, though vague, came at a particularly strategic time, mere hours after the latest court filings revealed that Blake's team had attempted to subpoena several content creators who had previously discussed her case. Anna's message wasn't just a cryptic whisper, it was a warning, and fans noticed. Within minutes, her comments were flooded with speculation. Was this about Blake? Was she siding with Justin? Had something happened behind the scenes? For those unfamiliar with their histories, Anna and Justin have long shared a deep mutual respect forged during collaborations on projects advocating for kindness, empathy, and meaningful media. They've appeared on the same charity panels, supported each other's campaigns, and spoken openly about the importance of healthy conversations in media spaces. While they never starred opposite each other in a major production, their professional paths crossed frequently. By contrast, Anna and Blake's relationship was always more distant, though both starred in A Simple Favor, where their on-screen chemistry was undeniable. Reports later emerged suggesting tensions off-camera. Multiple anonymous sources alleged that while their working relationship was professional, there was a mutual sense of discomfort that never quite dissolved. They were like oil and water, one production assistant recalled. They made it work on screen, but once the camera stopped, the distance was noticeable. In recent months, as the legal battle between Baldoni and Lively intensified, many celebrities understandably opted to say nothing. The risks were too high. But Anna's message, light on specifics but heavy with implication, felt like a quiet rebellion against the silence. Fans interpreted her post as a stand against what they saw as a coordinated campaign of intimidation, particularly as more influencers and smaller content creators came forward with claims that they had been contacted, warned, or even legally threatened due to their coverage of the Lively case. Kendrick's comment, "Do your research," seemed aimed squarely at encouraging fans to peel back the glossy surface of celebrity PR and investigate the stories themselves. The backlash wasn't instantaneous, but it was inevitable. Several tabloids, desperate for content, speculated that Kendrick was trying to revive her media relevance by inserting herself into a trending drama. But longtime fans pushed back, arguing that Kendrick had every right, and perhaps even a responsibility, to support voices that were being unfairly silenced. Moreover, her message wasn't without risk. In an era where public allegiance can make or break careers, taking a stance, however cautiously, against one of the most publicly admired figures like Blake Lively can have consequences. Industry insiders noted that Kendrick's move could place future collaboration opportunities in jeopardy, particularly with studios or agencies aligned with Lively's team. But what's striking is that Kendrick didn't back down. A few days after her initial post, she doubled down with a story repost of an independent journalist's analysis of the Baldoni Lively case, highlighting the chilling effect lawsuits were having on free speech. She captioned the story with just one word: important. It wasn't just a show of solidarity. It was a deliberate, quiet, and strategic use of platform not to fan flames, but to remind followers of the larger issues at stake: truth, accountability, and the ability of individuals to speak freely without fear of legal retaliation. And that's what makes this story different. It's not just another case of celebrity drama, it's a cultural flashpoint. And Anna Kendrick, whether she intended to or not, stepped into the center of it. What many people don't realize is that Anna Kendrick and Justin Baldoni have shared more than just occasional red carpet nods or friendly interviews. Their relationship, though not constantly in the spotlight, has quietly evolved over the years into a respectful, values-based friendship, one rooted in shared ideals about empathy, authenticity, and using one's platform for good. Their connection can be traced back nearly a decade to a philanthropic event hosted by a mutual friend, an intimate benefit gala that raised money for youth mental health awareness. At the time, both Anna and Justin were just beginning to use their voices more boldly beyond the realm of acting. Justin was founding Wayfarer Studios with a mission to produce content that inspired healing and growth. Anna was beginning to publicly address the complexities of anxiety, self-worth, and fame, topics she'd later write about in essays and speak about in interviews with refreshing honesty. According to a source who attended the event, they instantly clicked. It wasn't about fame or business, it was about the conversation. They were both so focused on how to shift culture, especially for young people who feel voiceless. In the years that followed, they occasionally appeared at the same speaking panels or charity events, particularly those that emphasized mental wellness, media accountability, and safe creative spaces. One panel from 2018, hosted by a nonprofit dedicated to empowering young women in media, featured both of them speaking passionately about creating emotionally honest narratives in television and film. The audience noticed their rapport: lighthearted but grounded, respectful yet full of admiration. What made their friendship noteworthy was how it existed almost entirely outside of Hollywood's usual performative alliances. There were no tabloids breathlessly reporting on them vacationing together, no viral interviews fanning rumors. Instead, it was sustained quietly through DM's shared articles and behind-the-scenes support that neither publicized for clout. Justin even once described Anna as one of the few people in this town who understands how to blend grace with integrity. This mutual respect became especially visible during the promotional period for Justin's film Clouds, which was based on the true story of Zach Sabi, a teenager who faced terminal cancer with remarkable grace. Kendrick, who wasn't involved in the project, nonetheless promoted it on her Instagram stories, calling it a film made with rare and sincere heart. That endorsement wasn't requested by Justin, it came from a genuine place of admiration for his mission. It's that kind of quiet support that makes Anna Kendrick's recent actions so significant. Because this wasn't just a case of an actress making a vague comment about doing your research. It was a subtle, deliberate move to back someone she has long respected, someone she knows personally and professionally. It also illuminates a larger issue about how celebrity friendships are understood by the public. We often assume that if two stars aren't frequently seen together, they must not be close. But the entertainment world doesn't always operate in such visible terms. Relationships built on shared ethics and private encouragement can be far more enduring than photo ops or talk show appearances. Those who've worked with both of them describe a dynamic that's grounded in realism. Anna and Justin are both very aware of the industry's pressures. The way image can overshadow purpose, said a former publicist who worked a Netflix event where both were present. They both care deeply about the emotional safety of young viewers, and that's always brought them together. When Justin began facing criticism from Lively's fanbase, especially after the lawsuit was made public, Kendrick reportedly reached out privately to show support. According to someone close to the situation, she didn't make a spectacle of it. She just wanted to remind him that people were watching, and not everyone was buying the narrative being pushed. And that's key, the narrative, because what has emerged in the media coverage of the Baldoni versus Lively case is a carefully curated battle for perception. On one side is Blake Lively, a beloved Hollywood icon with a massive social media following, a powerful PR machine, and a polished public image. On the other is Justin Baldoni, equally successful but often framed in the media as the underdog, the one who dares to challenge an entrenched system that rewards silence. Anna Kendrick's decision to offer her voice even subtly is about more than picking a side. It's about pushing back against the idea that silence equals neutrality. In doing so, she's echoing what many fans, creators, and even industry insiders have been feeling, that this case isn't just about two celebrities. It's about the ways power and influence can be used to suppress criticism, control narratives, and intimidate dissent. Kendrick herself has spoken at length in the past about the performative nature of fame and how the public is often shown a filtered version of the truth. In a widely shared interview from 2020, she said people like the story that looks the cleanest, but real life and real people are messy. You can either try to hide that mess or you can be brave enough to live through it honestly. That bravery, according to her fans, is what defines her actions. Now, by quietly standing beside Baldoni and not backing down in the face of subtle pushback, Kendrick is modeling something we rarely see in celebrity culture: integrity without spectacle. She isn't launching personal attacks. She isn't leveraging her influence to destroy someone else's career. She's simply saying, think critically, don't be afraid to question. In many ways, Anna Kendrick's support is symbolic of a broader cultural shift. As more people become aware of how fame can shield wrongdoing and how litigation can be weaponized, there's a growing demand for accountability, even when it involves beloved figures like Blake Lively. It's a risky stance, especially in a town where one wrong comment can lead to blacklisting. But it's also the kind of stance that might be remembered long after the headlines fade. Because in an industry built on images, Kendrick is choosing something far more meaningful: substance. As soon as Anna Kendrick made her quiet yet unmistakable show of support for Justin Baldoni, first with a cryptic Instagram story and later with a repost of an independent legal commentary, the reaction from her fanbase was swift, loud, and deeply divided. While many rallied behind her message, praising her courage and subtlety, others were confused, and a vocal minority even accused her of stirring drama. What unfolded in the days that followed wasn't just a celebrity response cycle, it was a case study in how fan culture can both elevate and distort celebrity actions. For Anna Kendrick's most loyal followers, many of whom have followed her since her breakout roles in Up in the Air and Pitch Perfect, her comments were a breath of fresh air. These fans have long admired Kendrick not just for her acting chops or musical talents, but for her candor and willingness to question industry norms. They saw her support for Baldoni as a continuation of her lifelong rejection of Hollywood's go along to get along culture. One user tweeted, "Anna Kendrick has never played the PR game the way others do. She's always had that authenticity. So if she's speaking out even subtly, she's saying something that matters." Another wrote, "It's honestly brave of Anna to risk alienating a fan favorite like Blake Lively. She's doing it not for clout, but because she sees something deeper happening. Respect." Across Reddit forums and fan discussion groups, Kendrick's move was analyzed in great detail. Posts dissected her past interviews for clues about her perspective on celebrity accountability, and some even revisited older photos of her with Baldoni and Lively to interpret body language or moments of tension. It may sound obsessive, but it reflects something deeper: the hunger for transparency and the belief that even small actions can carry immense meaning when reputations are on the line. But not everyone interpreted her actions favorably. Some of Blake Lively's diehard fans responded with confusion, disappointment, and in some cases outright anger. A few accused Kendrick of trying to revive attention to her own career by injecting herself into drama. Others suggested she had ulterior motives, alleging professional jealousy, especially in light of Blake's continued dominance in both film and fashion media spaces. Comments like these began popping up across social media. Why is Anna suddenly inserting herself into Blake's legal drama? This isn't her fight. Feels performative. She's doing the most to seem woke or on the right side, but it's giving opportunist. However, the backlash didn't gain the traction it seemed to expect. In fact, many of the negative comments were quickly countered by others defending Kendrick's right to express support for a colleague she respects. What began as a potential PR minefield actually turned into a rare instance where civil conversation won out because Kendrick wasn't being hostile. She wasn't naming names. She wasn't mocking or threatening. Her tone was reflective and principled. And that distinction made all the difference. Media analysts and fan theorists alike pointed out that Kendrick's approach, urging her followers to do your research and think critically, didn't demand loyalty or incite cancel culture. It simply invited nuance, and that perhaps is why so many found her message compelling. In a climate where lines are drawn quickly and loudly, Kendrick's voice stood out. for what it didn't say, for the questions it posed rather than answers it forced. Interestingly, many smaller content creators also stepped forward to express appreciation for Kendrick's timing. Several of them had just spoken out about being intimidated or silenced by legal threats stemming from their commentary on the lively Baldoni case. For these creators, Kendrick's quiet support was a form of validation. One mid-sized podcaster tweeted, "When someone like Anna Kendrick, who's respected and not known for drama, says look deeper, it means something. It's not gossip, it's a warning." Another TikToker who had done a legal breakdown of the lively filings said, "This is huge. When celebs support creators, even silently, it gives us the courage to keep talking, keep analyzing. The truth matters." These creators began amplifying Kendrick's original post, often pairing it with their own legal commentary or personal stories of how the lawsuit landscape in Hollywood has begun to threaten the kind of speech they engage in. Suddenly, Anna Kendrick wasn't just a passive observer in the public debate, she had become a symbol of responsible solidarity. Yet with increased attention comes increased scrutiny. Several entertainment blogs quickly jumped in to interpret Kendrick's involvement, publishing think pieces that ranged from supportive to speculative. One celebrity columnist wrote, "It's rare to see someone like Anna Kendrick weigh in even subtly on a legal matter like this. Whether intentional or not, she's added a new layer of complexity to what was already a tangled public narrative." Another article took a more cynical view, warning Anna Kendrick may have good intentions, but stepping into this feud could cost her, especially if the public tide shifts back in Blake's favor. But here's what made Kendrick's move stand out. She didn't follow up with a PR statement. She didn't delete the post. She didn't try to clarify or walk it back. She let her message speak for itself and trusted her audience to read between the lines. In a social media age where many celebrities over-explain, over-post, and overcorrect, Kendrick's restraint felt powerful. She knew that she wasn't going to win over everyone, and she wasn't trying to. She was simply choosing to show solidarity, and in doing so, to quietly question whether the version of the story the public had been given was the whole truth. As the days passed, fan discourse deepened rather than flamed out. The debates around Kendrick's post didn't revolve around drama. They centered around justice, silencing, and the role of artists in times of public reckoning. Fans began comparing her stance to other moments in recent Hollywood history when actors either stood up for or remained silent during times of controversy. Some invoked Scarlett Johansson's decision to defend Woody Allen, while others pointed to Brie Larson's bold calls for inclusivity in media coverage. In both cases, the reactions were intense. Kendrick, however, seemed to strike a balance, enough to raise eyebrows but not enough to trigger a full backlash. What's perhaps most interesting is how Kendrick's post began to influence the tone of the broader conversation around the Baldoni lively legal dispute. Suddenly, media outlets began asking new questions. Why were content creators being subpoenaed? What exactly were Blake's legal team trying to suppress? Could this case set a dangerous precedent for free speech in the entertainment world? These were questions that many had been asking already, but Kendrick's quiet endorsement helped legitimize them in the public eye. She wasn't pushing an agenda, she was reframing a story that had become too focused on celebrity personalities and not enough on power dynamics. And in that way, she became part of something larger, not just a Hollywood feud but a movement demanding fairness, accountability, and transparency. In the ever-evolving storm of celebrity scandals, legal disputes, and power plays, Anna Kendrick's decision to quietly stand with Justin Baldoni has left an indelible mark, not because it was loud but because it was honest, without theatrics. Without dragging names, she chose to urge her fans and perhaps the entire industry to think more critically, to pause, to investigate, to resist the temptation of blindly accepting a narrative just because it's wrapped in fame. Her message wasn't a declaration of war against Blake Lively. It wasn't about stoking division or fueling gossip. It was about choosing integrity over image, and that subtle strength has resonated far beyond what anyone expected. Fans, creators, and even media voices took notice, because when someone as media savvy and respected as Anna Kendrick speaks, people listen. And as this legal saga continues to unfold, with creators fighting back against subpoenas and the entertainment world reckoning with uncomfortable questions, Kendrick's voice might be remembered as the moment the tide began to shift. She reminded us that silence can protect power, but speech, even in its softest form, can challenge it. In a time when careers are carefully curated and opinions are filtered through teams of advisors, Anna Kendrick chose to speak for herself. That courage, however subtle, echoes louder than any headline. The story between Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively is far from over. But one thing is certain: with Kendrick stepping into the conversation, the stakes just got higher. The questions just got sharper, and Hollywood is being forced to look itself in the mirror. Because sometimes the quietest voices are the ones that shake the loudest rooms.